Hello, everybody. Shinall-5000 with the recent Bible verse mania in Texas, where we're going to put Bible verses in classrooms. I figured I'd go through some Bible verses here, starting with Exodus 19. This is Bible Gateway. I don't know this site from any other. The New Revised Standard Version, though, I'm very specific about because New Revised Standard Version, updated edition, it's most comprehensive. Going back to the original text, it doesn't mean it's original. It's just whatever we got 300, 400 years after Jesus' death and et cetera, et cetera. So Moses had some commandments. To be clear, there's no archaeological evidence of a Moses existing. There's no archaeological evidence of a Exodus from Egypt. So we're starting upon a book which simply exists that says these things with no archaeological evidence whatsoever. Period. There's not any. But out comes the commandments. And me being atheist, as I've not seen any proof yet of a God, I'll just read through the commandments and tell you my thoughts since we're going Bible verse time. All right, God spoke all these words. I'm the Lord your God who has brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. You shall have no other gods before me. Not sure if y'all see that word gods there, but the Bible is not a monotheistic book. It isn't. If you go to the culture of that time, there's a merging, there's a taking over of a god by another god, and there's actually evidence that God had a wife or something, Yahweh, I suppose. But long story short, that's a commandment. I don't necessarily take any other gods before any other god I don't believe in, but the word gods there should be a question mark for some monotheists. It is a multi-god society back then. There were gods that protected the land. That's why you see a lot of the land being pure, yada, yada, so on. You shall not make for yourself an idol. Well, okay, fine. We're not going to make idols. There's a lot of idol going on back there. A lot of idol making. There's ancient little places of worship and burning of incense, and there's evidence of cannabis. But there's idols where gods are supposed to live. I mean, you should read the archaeology. There's some neat stuff. But a lot of animal sacrifice, all those things. So read number 4 here. Which would be commandment 2, I suppose. And its context, right? What they were doing back then, right? What they were doing, right? There's gods. People keep worshiping gods and different gods. And the idea of a singular God is relatively new in the context here. But yeah, but I don't believe in, there's a godly being. So we'll scratch commandments 1 and 2, I'm assuming. You shall not make wrongful use of the name of the Lord your God. Or not. Okay, so I don't think that means swearing, like saying something like "God damn." I think they mean something like using God's name in vain. In a way of shall we say, lying under the pretense that God supports something, when in fact God may not. How would you know if there was a God? Did he tell you? Who knows? All right, so that would be number 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember the Sabbath day. Give a day. Okay. You should not do any work. You, your son or daughter, your male or female slave. All right, God's okay with you having slaves, my friends. You can't argue that God of the Bible is not. Your male or female slave. Your male or female slave. Interesting. Your livestock or the alien resident in your town. So basically, we're going to shut down on Sunday. Okay. 6 days the Lord has made heavens and earth. See all that is in them, but rest of the 7th day. Now, the weird thing is there are people that will believe that this is literal truth. And there's zero archaeological evidence of any of it. Well, I will say they have found altars with stone, like it looks like a headstone in there. Interesting, but no evidence of Egypt, that's for sure. No evidence of a Moses or Abraham. There's no evidence that the earth everything was made in 6 days. It's just a story. You choose to believe that's literal, that's fine, but you could just as easily assume unicorns are literal beings too. Honor your father, your mother, so that your days may be long in the land. Okay, so now we go past 1, 2, 3, 4, because Shinall-5000 doesn't believe any of that. Honor your father and the mother. So this is a commandment. All right, but then we're going to question, is there a time when you shouldn't? All right, is there a time that you should break that commandment, honor your father and your mother? And I would say yes. I've taught students abused. I've had friends abused, right? There are people that do not have to honor their father and mother, right? Some people have real garbage parents, right? And for them to be constantly wanting someone who's been abused to honor them, how foolish is that? Right? No chance, right? You don't have to honor someone who abuses you. So, that commandment, I suppose if you have good parents, then you should honor them, right? I suppose so. A lot of people have good parents. But I have 2 sons. I'm not a bad dad, but I don't need them to honor me. I mean, what in the world's that? You shall not murder. We all know that's very conditional, since there seems to be a lot of good Christians that think death penalty is warranted, right? Where you're murdering, right? You are murdering. Go to war, you fight somebody, you are murdering. You shall not murder. Someone holds a gun to a friend of yours. Somebody's losing their mind. They try to rob your friend. They got a gun. They got a knife. You have a gun. What would you do? Right, you shall not murder, but we make exceptions. All right, we're going to skip number 14. We're going to skip, it's not 14, it's commandment 6, 7. You shall not steal. There's a time to steal. I hate to say it, but if you're hungry, you're going to steal, right? Should people steal? It says you shall not. Should you steal bread from the mouths of decadence, as the Temple of the Dog song goes? Well, I would say yeah, but what do I know? All right, you shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. Is there a time you should lie against your neighbor? I don't know. You got to think about that one. Maybe your neighbor is being abusive to other people, maybe threatening to burn down people's houses, and then you lie to get them out of your way and put them in jail. I don't know. You shall not covet your neighbor's house. So this one, I don't know. Is there a time when you should bear false witness or against your neighbor? Maybe. If you know it would cause a bad person to be removed from a family or to protect a family, maybe. You should not covet your neighbor's house, a neighbor's wife, male or female slave. Oh, the slavery. You can't covet the slaves. Slaves, it's right there. Makes you think these commandments are good when you see number 9 is don't covet neighbor's slaves. It's right there, male or female. An ox, a donkey, or anything else. I guess that's the easy thing to do. You can train yourself not to want to long after other people's things. It's kind of hard not to, though. And how far does that go? Like if you look at your neighbor's garden, flower garden, you're like, man, that's a cool flower garden. Is that really coveting? I don't know. Maybe you want a flower garden. Maybe you want to I guess that means don't envy it, and maybe to the point where you want to curse it or something. I don't know. But certainly, all right. Is that 10? It may be 10. Let's count backwards. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yep, that's it. Now we're going to the last one that I skipped over. You shall not commit adultery. I would say of all the commandments, that one's the most easy to not ever do. All right, you may be faced with a neighbor who has a kick-ass garden, and you're like, man, I want that neighbor's garden. Or they've got a cool donkey. I don't know, hey, that's a cool donkey. All right, there may be a time when you want to lie against your neighbor, or, lie because they're threatening people. I don't know. testify against him in a way that's false, under the premise of maybe protecting other people, perhaps. All right. You shall not steal. There's a time to steal. There's a time to murder. Right? Everybody who's gone to war has been asked to murder. Trying to defend yourself, you might have to murder. Same thing with stealing, right? If you're hungry. Honor your father and mother, that's a pretty easy pass if your parents are garbage. Mine are not, to be clear. The first four, well, I'm an atheist. But the you shall not commit adultery of all of them, to me, is the one that is the easiest not to do. Right? It's the easiest to obey. Of all of them, you shall not commit adultery. Right? Because there was somebody that was asking that the other day. Right? That one seemed to be the one that was easiest not to do. And in the context of human beings, it's very easy to not dishonor your marriage or your commitment to your spouse or significant other, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. Right? So if I read the Ten Commandments under the lens of Shinall the atheist, having deconstructed years ago, I would say that you shall not commit adultery seems like something that is a good thing to do. And as it pertains to the rest, murdering, stealing, lying against your neighbor, longing for your neighbor's stuff, if you could do that, probably that would be a good thing. Is this something that should be in the Aristotelian ethics? I don't know. I'm not looking for ethical things, I'm just saying that, for a lot of people, even the simplest of commands, people choose not to obey. Right now we got a president who can't seem to obey him ever. But people seem to worship him all the same. Y'all have a good day.